How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame. We are back with another FPL video, and today we're going to be checking out free hit drafts for Game Week 38 plus. I just want to make a mention, make sure to give us a follow and subscribe to this channel. We're going to be doing a lot of FPL videos. Links are in the description, and you can see the links below me. Pilot Flame 226 on all platforms, much appreciated, so that we can be doing even more content for you in the near future. And like I said, the title of the video today, free hit drafts. We're going to be taking a look at some differential picks, maybe some secure cheap options for the bench, as well as some kind of who to go for in certain matchups. And we kind of have a few different drafts kind of drawn up for you so that there's a little bit of flexibility, and it all kind of depends around certain assets for a very specific team that happens to be playing the worst team in the Premier League. So without further ado, let's get into the drafts. Let's start off by taking a look at the first draft here. It sits at 102.1 million, and I'm going to actually start with the bench here first, mainly because that's kind of going to unfold how I've drafted all of these teams, and it's because it's the cheapest possible bench, or mostly, that you can get with people actually starting in the team. So we're just going with a 3.9 goalkeeper because it's pretty easy to pick a goalkeeper that's going to start. We've gone with Connolly as our forward, and we've gone with two defenders in Branthwaite for Everton, who plays center back for them, with Mason Holgate being out at 4 million. Pretty good buy there. And then Brandon Williams, who will be playing versus Leicester, and he plays for Manchester United. 3.8 million and is in place of Luke Shaw because Luke Shaw is out injured and is the cheapest player, let alone defender, in the game at the moment. And that bench is going to stay the same for all of these drafts and allows us to put more money into the team, which is exactly where we want it. We've gone with the Burnley double up for this draft here with Pope and Long in there. They have a great fixture of Brighton at home, and I see a lot of free hitters that are probably going to be going with a Burnley double up, whether it's two defenders or Pope and a defender, or a defender and an attacker. You'll have to kind of see how it works for your team, but I think double defense for Burnley is almost certainly going to be a clean sheet and will be an easy 12 plus points for you there. As well as other defenders, I've gone with Aurier. He could be also another like mid-priced kind of wingback style defender, but I think he has a great fixture versus Crystal Palace, and he's playing exceptionally well under Mourinho, and if he keeps up this form, he could be, interesting for our teams in next season as well. And you may see a price increase, which is he's got a good price right now, and we like to keep it low, and cheap attacking defenders is what we like to see in FPL. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, his price is a lot more expensive, but he's obviously crazy at what he does. Getting a goal and an assist, getting 13 points in a game where he conceded 3 goals is pretty crazy. But nonetheless, he could also be Robertson as well. Just a very good asset versus Newcastle, who don't have any defenders. They don't really have much to play for. So I expect a clean sheet from Liverpool there, even if they play at 50%, going into this game. And then we have the midfield, where most of our money is. Triple City midfield here. I've gone with David Silva captain. That could be any one of these three, in my opinion. With this one, I've kind of gone more geared towards the creators rather than the people who are potentially scoring. So the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva are going to be more of the assisters, and then Mars has got a bit more directness about him, but will create quite a bit as well. And we've stuck with the Man United double up in Fernandes and Greenwood. The one caveat, obviously, with having Williams is if you want to go with 3 Man United players that start and play, and Williams isn't one of them, you can't have him on the bench. But I don't think a lot of free hitters are going to be doing that this week, mainly because Man United look tired, they look leggy. And you kind of want to go with the players that seem to be kind of fit and firing. Fernandes, I don't expect him to blank versus Leicester. However, he did look quite tired. He's trying to do too much, in my opinion. He kind of needs to stay in his position, and he does work hard for the team, but that does tire him out. And it doesn't seem like he can string a good pass right now. So maybe potentially he could be the likes of Martial, which we have in other teams as well. And then Greenwood's just a very cheap enabler, which allows for us to get these more expensive assets. And it's just a great forward. He scored last game week, so I can't see why he wouldn't score versus Leicester. And if I was Leicester, I'd be worried about him because he's so unpredictable. He's both-footed, and he's very lethal on both of them at that. And then last, we have our 2 real premium assets in Harry Kane. Back-to-back braces. I expect him to do well versus Palace, who have been quite poor and are considered one of these teams that are in the bottom 4 for conceding goals, along with the likes of Norwich and so on. And Kane is he just does well at the end of the season, and he's catching fire, so I expect him to be quite good. You could also have Aubameyang here. They're both the same price, and it's easy to swap them in and out if you think Aubameyang is a better fixture at home versus Watford. I like Kane, mainly because he's in my team, and he's done well for me so far. And Kane, I think, is a very good captaincy choice, alongside Aubameyang as well. And then lastly, we have the highest, valued asset in the team, and Mohamed Salah. Great fixture versus Newcastle. He's getting a lot of chances. He just needs to put them away, and then he'll prove his value. But he has been ticking along quite nicely. We mentioned in our captaincy video, he has just above a expected goals or like assist involvement, and I think he can be a good asset. If you want to go for more of a differential, you can go for the slightly cheaper Sadio Mane, who can also fit in this slot as well. And I think that both of them are going to be looking to score goals versus a very riddled defensive team in Newcastle. I think they only have one fit center back, which is going to be quite interesting to see. We know that Liverpool's already won the league and they don't really have much to play for, and they could get a nice long extended break. But I think they want to finish off this season right, and I think Salah or Mane would be a good pick in this slot. In the next draft we have the same back four with the same three defenders and goalkeeper. We've kept in Kevin De Bruyne as well as David Silva, but we've changed up the midfield and the forwards slightly. I've gone with Jesus as the captain in that. I've removed Mars and put him in up front. You can go with a kind of different formation here. This also opens up opportunities to go 3-4-3. You can potentially take out Connolly and put in the likes of Greenwood if you have that extra cash lying around, and go 3-4-3 and exchange one of the midfielders for them. And it's a very flexible formation in that you have, a bit of creativity from your Man City midfielders, with the person potentially getting on the end of that creativity in Gabriel Jesus. And if he starts, I can see his minutes definitely being managed, but I still think he can be quite lethal, as the likes of David Silva and De Bruyne are going to be putting in those nice passes for him, and hopefully a better service for him in this game. This team is a little bit cheaper than the last draft as well, 101.7 million. And we do have two United midfielders in there, Martial and Fernandes, obviously doing quite well for themselves in recent game weeks. Last game week was obviously kind of an exception to that matter, with Fernandes only getting 1 point, Martial only getting an assist. However, I think with a riddled Leicester defense, they can still do quite well, even with the tiredness problems that they may be having. They did have today off. They have Friday and Saturday as well. It is a somewhat of a quick turnaround with Leicester having a full week off, but I think with 3 out of their 4 starting back for Leicester not being involved in this game, I can see these two doing quite well for themselves. And with a championship spot on the line, I can see Bruno Fernandes. He's a kind of a big game player to step up and perform when it matters. And then we also have Antonio in there. The man just can't stop scoring. Got a penalty. There was some, rumors or kind of sayings going around talking about him having some type of goal thing in his contract where he gains a little bit extra money if he scores 10 goals. Well, he's probably going to be able to score a few more, I think, versus Aston Villa, who are going to be quite open. They're going to have to go attack the game. They're going to have to, get a result out of it if they want to secure that they stay out of the relegation zone. But I think that leaves space for Antonio in behind, and I think the West Ham will do exactly what they did to United. They'll kind of sit off, and then they'll look to break onto Aston Villa, who have to bring the game to them. And then lastly, we just want to touch on Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang here. I think he can do quite well versus Watford, mainly because, again, Watford is in a scenario much like Aston Villa. They have to win the game to basically ensure that they stay out of relegation. There is some scenarios where they need help from other teams, but Watford knows that they need to get 3 points and nothing short of it, which leaves right amount of space for Aubameyang to get in behind and just get what he needs to get. He was probably disappointed in the last game not scoring, so I think he might take it on Watford, and it would only be kind of a poetic or suiting story that a few years ago Troy Deeney was talking about Arsenal not having cojones, and it could come down to Arsenal relegating Watford, which would be kind of a karma goes full circle in that scenario. But I definitely think this could also be Kane as well. It's just a slightly different team, slightly different members, and you can see the amount of kind of flexibility we have in midfield with these select players in this particular free hit draft. And with this third draft here, we've gone with a triple Burnley defense. We've kept the midfield pretty much the same as what we had before. We just brought back in Mahrez and Salah, and we've gone with a much cheaper defense. With the Burnley defenders, they're sitting around like 4.2, 4.3 million, which is quite good, especially with the likes of Peters and Bardsley having attacking returns as they are the fullbacks for the team. However, if Taylor is fit, he might replace Peters. We'll have to hopefully get some early team news to see if we can swap him in for that if he does start. This team value, as you can see, 101.2 million, which is the cheapest we've had so far, and we've made up for that with the budget by adding it in goal as well as up front as well. We've gone with Allison in goal. He's just going to be a clean sheet for Liverpool, and it's just going to be a replacement effectively for the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold. And lastly, we got a differential pick here with Rashford. A lot of people have been kind of going with Mason Greenwood over him, but Rashford is a big game player. He does tend to score when it matters most, and I expect him to have a big game and be a very low-owned player, so I wouldn't count him out in the Leicester game. He is going to have to pick up his performance from the last game as he was trying to do too much. I think if he just keeps it simple, he's going to be able to run through Leicester's back four and just strike them when they're at their most vulnerable. And I think this could be a pretty balanced team overall. It looks like it's very heavily overloaded, but with the Burnley defenders, they're kind of playing like 5 to 5.5 million defenders because they're getting clean sheets every game. They've been like kind of talking that they want to get Nick Pope the Golden Glove because it'd be interesting to see a team that's not in like the top 6 that gets the Golden Glove. I believe he's on 1 clean sheet ahead of Liverpool, and I think that if they secure that clean sheet versus Brighton, which should be quite easy for them, then he will definitely get the reward. And he could be looking at an England spot in Nick Pope. And I think that Burnley is also good from set pieces. So if you wanted to go with a slightly more expensive defender, if you have a little bit more budget, maybe you think Tarkowski will be a bigger threat from set plays, then you can go with him instead of the likes of Long or Peters or Bardsley or whoever you so choose. But this is definitely a more risky one because if Burnley do concede, then you lose 3 clean sheets in 1 goal, and that's obviously not ideal. So I think this is more risky, but it is cheaper and is lower on the squad value if you choose to go with this free hit draft. And the last draft we have here, we've changed up a few players in it. We've gone with Martinez in goal for Arsenal at Watford at home, and this kind of alleviates a little bit more money to kind of splash around and get some more expensive players in there. You can see that we've gone with a quite hefty midfield as well as, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold being a premium defender here with Jesus back up front as well with 2, you know, partnered with Kane in 2 premium strikers. We also have two kind of differential picks in there with the likes of Mahrez, who's probably not going to be in some people's teams. People are probably looking at Jesus, Sterling, David Silva are probably the 3 that mainly people are looking at, and people still have Kevin De Bruyne. And you can see that we've amped up the kind of value of the team value, like we mentioned, 103.3 million, and that comes in the form of Mohamed Salah, Bruno Fernandes still being there, who's 9.1 million at the time of recording, Harry Kane, who's 10.9 million, Jesus, who's almost 10 million as well. But we also have Richarlison in there, who people are probably forgetting about. He does play Bournemouth, who are going to be quite open, and he's going to be one of those players that is definitely going to be in Ancelotti's plans next season, and he's going to be their talisman to make sure that they win that game. Bournemouth are going to be quite open. There could be a lot of goals in that game, so even the likes of Stanislas or even Wilson or Josh King up front for Bournemouth could be interesting players or interesting differentials as cheap enablers. But I think Richarlison, he scored in the previous game, is showing quite good form. He's very good in the air as well with the likes of Nathan Ake still out to injury. I think he can prove to be quite a good asset, and it's all because we have Martinez, who is the backup goalkeeper, who's been excellent for Arsenal. I have seen no flaws in his game. He passes up from the back, you know, quite calmly, and he may be vying for the #1 spot here, at least until, you know, Leno kind of gets back to full fitness, and then maybe there's an argument for Leno to come back in. But I think Martinez has done quite well for himself, and with Arteta's new 3-4-3 style that he's been playing, I think he suits that you know, quite nicely. He's able to, like I said, you have to be able to play the ball out from the back if you're a goalkeeper nowadays, and he does it quite well for himself. And then lastly, I just want to mention briefly that the captaincy, we do have it on Jesus here, but this could easily go on a number of different players, which is quite good for this team. You could put it on Mohamed Salah, you could put it on David Silva, you could put on Mahrez, you could put on Jesus, Kane, Richarlison, even Fernandes. Literally everyone in the front 7 has a viable, you know, even Trent Alexander-Arnold has a viable say for the captaincy in this team, which is what I like about the draft. It's a little bit more expensive. You kind of secure the clean sheets for Burnley, as a lot of people are going to be having them in there. And then you have the secure bench because you know Connolly's going to get minutes. Branthwaite's probably going to play for Everton, as we mentioned, over the likes of Holgate, who's injured. And then Brandon Williams, if Shaw doesn't play, he will probably see some minutes, but at least you still have two people on the bench. But most of these guys are going to be playing. Early team news will definitely confirm that. And I think this is going to be a pretty solid lineup if you go for it in Game Week 38+. And that's going to do it for this FPL rendition of the free hits drafts for Game Week 38+. Make sure to leave a comment down below as to what your free hit team's looking like. I'm trying to answer as many of the comments as I can. I've seen a lot of people asking questions for it. And hopefully early team news will kind of ease the minds of everyone so that we have enough time to kind of figure out what transfers. I'm not personally on a free hit, and I can only imagine what it's like to be on a free hit. I wish I did have mine because I would still make some changes all the way up until the deadline. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. There's going to be a lot of content coming out on this channel this week. And even after the postseason, we're going to be doing a bunch of different videos. So we're going to be looking at potential price changes. We're going to be looking at how I did, basically, maybe position changes as well. It's going to be a bunch of different ideas. And then before you know it, we're going to be back into the new FPL season again. And I'll also do an update for when I have access for the league, which I'm going to be putting on next season. Make sure to also turn those notification bells on so you can get the videos as soon as they are readily available. And follow us over on the socials, as you can see down below me. Links are also in the description as well. It's PilotFlame226 on Twitter and Twitch. Twitter's where we post our YouTube videos as well as when we go live on Twitch, which I will also have a pinned comment down below. We'll be doing a stream tomorrow for the Game Week preview where I'll kind of be going over my thoughts for my team, as well as some predictions that we like to do over there for how we think the games are going to go. And then on deadline day, we're also going to be doing a stream for my transfers, my live transfers, as well as posting early, or saying out the early team news and kind of speculating, and any questions that you might have. We'll do a Q&A style. If you want to come in and kind of ask a few things about your team or what you think my recommendation would be, I'll be more than happy to answer it over there. And like I said, it's going to be the pinned comment down below on all my videos for this week as to when that is going to be time-wise. So thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it, and until the next one, take care.